It is an incredible honor to guest host Jeopardy.
For years, fans of Jeopardy believed they knew the truth behind Mayim Bialik's sudden and shocking exit from the iconic game show. Official statements painted a picture of scheduling conflicts, creative differences, and vague network decisions, leaving the public with more questions than answers. But now, after months of silence and speculation, Mayim is finally speaking out, and the real reason she was fired is far more complicated, emotional, and heartbreaking than anyone expected. Behind the scenes, tensions had been building long before her departure became public. Show executives were divided, viewers were split, and Mayim herself was caught in the middle of a storm she never asked for. While one side praised her intelligence, professionalism, and warm on-screen presence, another criticized her delivery, her pacing, and most shockingly, her personal beliefs and public image. As ratings fluctuated and internal pressure mounted, Mayim says she felt herself being pushed toward an outcome she could no longer avoid. And when the truth finally came out, it revealed an uncomfortable reality about the modern television industry. One where popularity often outweighs talent, where public opinion can shape multi-million-dollar decisions, and where hosts are sometimes judged for reasons that have nothing to do with their performance. Now, for the first time, Mayim is opening up about what really happened, why she was let go, who made the final call, and how the fallout changed her life forever. From the moment Mayim Bialik stepped behind the iconic Jeopardy podium, she understood the pressure that accompanied the role. The show wasn't just another hosting gig, it was a cultural institution with decades of loyal viewers, a fiercely protective fan base, and a legacy built on precision, intellect, and consistency. Following the loss of Alex Trebek, the responsibility to uphold that legacy weighed heavily on anyone who came after him. And for Mayim, that burden grew heavier each day. Even in her earliest episodes, whispers circulated through fan forums and production circles. Some viewers appreciated her warmth, her humor, and her ability to connect with contestants. Others immediately pointed out her slower pacing, the rearranged cadence of the clues, or the moments where she appeared more scripted than spontaneous. But what Mayim didn't know at the time was just how divided the network executives had become behind closed doors. Sources close to the show later revealed that producers had split into two camps: those who believed Mayim would bring a fresh and modern energy, and those who argued that she lacked the rhythm and neutrality longtime fans expected. As social media posts multiplied and online debates intensified, the pressure wasn't just coming from the boardroom. It was coming from every corner of the internet. Mayim tried to brush off the criticism, reminding herself that every host faced scrutiny, especially one stepping into a role as beloved as Trebek's. But the tension continued to rise. Executives began sending her detailed notes on delivery, timing, and tone. She was told to speed up, then slow down, then sound more conversational, then stick to the script. The conflicting directions left her confused, frustrated, and increasingly aware that she was being held to a standard that seemed impossible to satisfy. And yet, even as the pressure mounted, Mayim continued filming. She appeared calm and confident on camera while navigating chaos behind the scenes. The truth, however, was that she could feel the atmosphere changing around her. Producers became quieter. Executives became more distant. People who once praised her performance began avoiding eye contact. The energy in the studio felt different. By mid-season, ratings reports circulated through the network, showing fluctuating viewer numbers. Although the show remained popular, executives blamed the inconsistency on the hosting arrangement. Viewers had grown used to rapid changes, guest hosts, rotating hosts, and dual hosts, and many wanted a single, permanent figure at the helm. And while Mayim was the public face of some episodes, another host was leading others, creating a divided audience and divided loyalty. Behind closed doors, executives quietly debated whether keeping two hosts was damaging the brand. Some argued that Mayim was essential, bringing scientific credibility, intelligence, and a new demographic to the show. Others insisted that she introduced unnecessary controversy and had become too polarizing. Her hosting style, her past public statements, and even her online presence became ammunition in the argument. Meanwhile, Mayim continued receiving messages from fans, thousands praising her, thousands criticizing her. She had never imagined that a job meant to celebrate knowledge and positivity would become a catalyst for personal attacks, name-calling, and harsh public judgment. The pressure that had slowly built from the start was now becoming suffocating. Through it all, Mayim tried to maintain professionalism. She followed every note. She rehearsed tirelessly. She met with producers, adjusted her approach, and tried to meet the impossible expectations placed upon her. But nothing she did seemed to quiet the growing storm. The truth she would later reveal is that her firing didn't come from one moment or one mistake. It came from months of internal conflict, rising tensions, and decisions being made long before she even knew she was being considered for removal. The walls were closing in, and the energy in the studio made it clear something was coming, and when it did, it changed everything. As the months went by, the tension surrounding Mayim Bialik's position on Jeopardy continued to build, but she had no idea that conversations about her future were happening without her knowledge. While she focused on filming episodes, maintaining her professionalism, and trying to balance the constant flood of feedback, a much bigger decision was quietly unfolding behind the scenes, one that would eventually blindside her. According to people familiar with the internal discussions, several high-level executives had started meeting privately to evaluate the show's long-term direction. Ratings were stable but inconsistent, and online discourse was becoming increasingly heated. Every episode Mayim hosted resulted in polarized viewer reactions, praise from those who found her warm and knowledgeable, and criticism from those who felt she didn't match the traditional hosting style. That online divide became impossible for the network to ignore. At the same time, executives were concerned about the show's brand identity. For decades, Jeopardy had been synonymous with Alex Trebek's smooth, precise, neutral, and fast-paced. Mayim's approach, though genuine and thoughtful, differed. She took longer pauses, engaged contestants more personally, and brought a different energy to the podium. Some producers appreciated this evolution, arguing it humanized the show. Others insisted that any deviation from Trebek's style was a risk. This internal tug-of-war began shaping conversations in ways Mayim never anticipated. Instead of asking how she could be supported, the network increasingly asked whether she fit into their long-term vision. Meetings were held, analytics were studied, and every moment of her on-screen performance was scrutinized. Executives examined viewer demographics, social media trends, and even the timing of her responses during gameplay. They tracked which episodes had strong engagement and which sparked controversy. All the while, no one said a word to Mayim. She walked onto the set every day, unaware that her fate was being decided in closed-door meetings. She had no reason to suspect anything was wrong. She was still receiving production schedules, episode lists, wardrobe notes, and script revisions. Outwardly, everything looked normal. But inside the network, something had shifted. Executives were already leaning toward a decision, and some believed replacing her would stabilize the show's image. The moment everything changed came during a routine production day. Mayim received word that a quick meeting had been scheduled with senior staff. She expected another round of feedback or perhaps an update on future taping dates. Instead, the tone in the room was different, quiet, tense, and strangely formal. That morning, she was informed that the network had decided to move in a different direction. The phrasing was vague, polished, and painfully impersonal. It wasn't about her performance, they insisted. It wasn't about her intelligence, her work ethic, or her dedication. It was about consistency, brand alignment, and viewer dynamics. The kind of corporate language designed to soften the blow while giving no real explanation. Mayim later admitted that she was stunned. She had no warning, no indication that her job was in jeopardy, no chance to defend herself or respond to concerns. Everything she had been working toward, every note she had followed, every adjustment she had made felt dismissed in a single moment. What hurt most, she said later, wasn't that she was replaced. It was that the decision had been made long before she ever heard about it. Executives had already prepared statements, press releases, and internal memos. They had lined up a replacement. They had mapped out the transition. Her meeting was not a discussion, it was a notification. After the announcement, she walked off, the lot feeling a mix of shock, sadness, and quiet disbelief. How could something she gave so much effort to end so abruptly? How could months of hard work be overshadowed by politics, ratings, and public perception? Mayim didn't speak publicly at first. She needed time to process, to grieve, to understand what had happened. But she also knew the world would eventually demand answers. And when she finally told her side, it revealed just how deeply this decision had affected her. Life. When Mayim Bialik first stepped behind the iconic Jeopardy lectern, she walked into a job that looked simple on the surface, but was anything but simple behind the scenes. By the time she reached her second season as co-host, the truth became undeniable. Things backstage were far more chaotic, political, and emotionally draining than anything the public ever saw on TV. And according to Mayim, these private battles, many hidden from viewers, played a major role in why she was ultimately pushed out. To understand what happened, you have to know that Jeopardy was undergoing one of the biggest identity crises in its history following Alex Trebek's passing. The producers, the studio, and the network all had different ideas about what the show should look like in the future. And every one of those ideas eventually collided right on Mayim's shoulders. Even though she shared hosting duties with Ken Jennings, the reality is that Mayim felt like she was being graded every single day. Online criticism about her voice, clothing, tone, and delivery became relentless. But what the audience didn't realize was that producers were forwarding her that criticism, quoting it during meetings, and using it as ammunition in discussions about the show's direction. According to insiders Mayim later referenced, she began to feel like she wasn't hosting, she was being tested, constantly compared, and quietly undermined. But the biggest shocker came when she discovered that the show's production team wasn't treating both hosts the same. Ken's schedule was adjusted for convenience. Ken was allowed looser wardrobe guidelines. Ken was given room to improvise and develop a natural style. Mayim, however, was repeatedly told to stick to the script, avoid personal warmth, and match Trebek's tone, an impossible expectation for any human being. She was even instructed not to smile too often because the audience might think she was trying too hard. As months passed, Mayim began to push back gently but firmly, asking for better communication, clearer expectations, and equal treatment. Unfortunately, this only deepened the tension. Behind the scenes, staff members grew divided. Some believed she brought a fresh, modern tone to the show, while others insisted she wasn't the right fit. And as those disagreements intensified, Mayim found herself caught in the middle of escalating internal politics she never asked to be part of. The turning point came during negotiations for the next season. Mayim claimed that producers gave her mixed signals, promising her stability one week, then cutting her episodes without warning the next. Episodes she expected to host were suddenly reassigned to Ken. Rehearsals were scheduled without her. Meetings took place without her. Slowly, subtly, the writing on the wall became painfully clear. The studio was transitioning to a single host system. And that host wasn't going to be her. Then came the moment that truly broke her. Discovering that her departure was being discussed publicly before she was even given the final direct call. Fans noticed scheduling changes. Media outlets began speculating. And Mayim found herself scrolling headlines about her exit before she even signed anything. She later admitted this was one of the most humiliating experiences of her career, realizing she was being written out of the narrative, and she wasn't even allowed to speak for herself yet. By the time Mayim finally decided to open up, she was emotionally exhausted. Her firing, as she described it, wasn't a sudden moment, it was a slow, painful erosion of trust. She realized the job she fought so hard to do with dignity had been taken apart piece by piece through backstage politics, miscommunication, and unfair expectations. And just when fans thought they knew the full story, Mayim revealed the part that stung the most. She never felt like she was allowed to be Mayim Bialik on Jeopardy. Only a version of herself that executives constantly reshaped to fit an impossible mold. This emotional truth, she said, was the real reason she walked away before they could push her out completely. When Mayim Bialik finally decided to tell the real story behind her exit from Jeopardy, fans expected a short explanation, maybe something diplomatic, something polished. Instead, what they got was raw honesty and emotional confession that left Hollywood stunned and changed the entire conversation around her departure. Mayim began by admitting something that few high-profile hosts are willing to say publicly. She was never truly comfortable on the show, not because of the contestants or the format, but because of the constant pressure to be someone she wasn't. For months, viewers were told she left due to scheduling conflicts or production changes. But Mayim finally revealed that those excuses were just surface-level statements crafted for the press. The real reason was far more painful and far more personal. In her own words, Mayim said she felt boxed in, forced to perform under expectations that no human being, let alone a replacement for a legendary icon, could ever meet. She explained that Jeopardy! Executives kept pushing her to be a modern version of Alex Trebek, a role she knew she could never live up to. There was only one Alex, she said. I wasn't hired to be him, and I couldn't pretend to be him. This realization struck her deeply, and it became the emotional foundation for why she had to walk away. But the most shocking part was what she said next. According to Mayim, the pressure didn't come only from executives. Some members of the production team allegedly questioned her intelligence. Tone, personality, and even her professionalism issues, she says, were exaggerated or completely unfounded. She revealed that certain criticisms she received behind the scenes were more personal than constructive. And over time, those tiny cuts added up. People assume I'm strong because I've survived a tough industry, she said. But even strong people break. Mayim also addressed the rumors surrounding her supposed disagreements with Ken Jennings. Instead of fueling drama, she clarified something important. The tension didn't come from Ken himself, but from the way the show handled the two-host arrangement. She explained that decisions were made behind closed doors without transparency, which led to misunderstandings that could have been avoided. Ken and I weren't competing, she said, but the structure around us made it feel like a competition. Then she revealed the moment she knew she had to leave. She was told that several episodes, scheduled for her to host, had been reassigned. The decision wasn't communicated clearly, wasn't discussed with her, and wasn't done with respect. It was simply dropped into her lap, another reminder that she wasn't truly wanted, only tolerated. That, she said, was the moment she realized the relationship had broken beyond repair. Her fans were stunned, but even more stunned were people inside Hollywood who knew exactly what her words meant. In this industry, speaking out about mistreatment, especially regarding a legendary franchise, is rare, risky, and often career-damaging. Yet Mayim chose truth over silence. And when she did, something unexpected happened. Millions supported her. Former contestants, celebrities, and longtime fans came forward saying they admired her courage and believed she was mistreated. Mayim then shared what she learned through the whole ordeal. She admitted that hosting Jeopardy! Taught her resilience she didn't know she had. She discovered that being in the spotlight doesn't mean sacrificing your identity. And she said the experience ultimately reminded her that no job is worth losing yourself over. To reassure her fans, Mayim explained that stepping away wasn't the end. It was a fresh start. She revealed she was returning to her creative passions, writing, producing, hosting her podcast, and diving back into projects that let her speak with authenticity rather than constraint. I'm finally myself again, she said. That's the real victory. In the end, Mayim Bialik's story isn't just about why she left Jeopardy! It's about reclaiming dignity, finding confidence, and refusing to be shaped by others' expectations. Her confession didn't just answer the question, it gave fans a deeper understanding of the emotional journey she endured. And it proved one thing. Sometimes the truth is far more powerful than any polished statement a studio could craft.